Hi, Selina.
Hi, Natasha.
Hi. We thought we'd have this discussion today because we've chatted a few times and we've noticed that there are kind of a lot of similarities. We've noticed the same things around the topic of money, really. Do you want to introduce yourself a little bit first, and then I'll introduce myself, and then we'll have that discussion?
Yeah, so like I said, I'm really excited about this. So my name's Selina. I'm the owner and founder of Glitz Events and Caterpillar to Butterfly. So I do a lot of work with leaders predominantly and entrepreneurs, potentially kind of heart-centered coach, therapist, education-based professionals on wellness. And really what I do is about helping them kind of not only on their strategy and their clarity, but really about helping them step into and own the role as leader. And for me, what I'm also about is helping people do things in a way that is comfortable, natural to them. And really, you know, I've come across over time a lot of leaders, a lot of business, but in a way that really doesn't feel comfortable. And I think there's so much that really keeps us trapped. And that was part of the reason why I was really excited to do this as well, because we get really caught up kind of in our own stories, in our own drama, in what they've told us to do. But actually, once we come away from that, you know, it's about us being ourselves. So I also organise events as well and provide event consultancy. As I said, I'm on a real mission to work with different types of people, next level leaders, people that really have a huge heart and passion, but aren't going to get trapped kind of in all of this, you should do this and it should be like that, because that's really boring.
Yeah. So my name's Natasha, and I run Because You Can, which is kind of I'm an entrepreneur mindset coach. And again, I kind of work with leaders or people. A lot of my clients are people who are not that happy in their jobs and want to kind of follow a different path, but not sure how to do it. But I've started the Women Inspire Leaders Network as well, which is more about creating space and for people to connect and collaborate for women leaders or women who inspire in other women. That's how we met, because you came through that channel, really. But yeah, it's all about mindset, isn't it? We get stuck in our stories, we get stuck in all the reasons why we can't do things. And I've been noticing a few things around money lately. And when I spoke to you, you had noticed some of the similar kind of things.
Yeah.
And what I'm realizing is we titled this Dirty Money, didn't we?
Yes.
I thought that was quite a cool name. But what I'm realizing is that people feel so uncomfortable around money. And there was a discussion on one of the groups about how people were promoting their services in a little bit of a kind of a markety way, I suppose, and how people didn't feel comfortable with that. I think people expect a lot of stuff for free sometimes, and actually all of the women coaches and people who are promoting their stuff on there have businesses and have to earn an income as well. But we kind of move around money a little bit, in a sense, in that we're not straight with it, are we? We're not comfortable talking around about it. And when we see other people doing things, and sometimes people get in their heads about what that's about, and actually money is just energy.
Yeah.
Why do you think we feel so uncomfortable about it? What have you been noticing?
I think it starts with, you know, kind of where it was rooted and kind of the worlds that come up and are associated with it. And I think on the same token as well, it can be used to really keep people in a position of bondage and loneliness for not having it. So some people, you know, you get people are always striving for it, you know, they're the poor class, you know, you're the coach or the person that hasn't got the 10K. So that means therefore you're useless. You haven't got the 50,000 people coming to your workshop. You've got 2, 5. Therefore it's not a success, like it's failed, you know. And I think that's the problem. Like we put too many labels around it, really. We've put too much ownership, and it's like our value is placed in this money. And I think that was one of the things, like we were saying, you know, you haven't got money, therefore you haven't got a bit business, you haven't got anything. And rather than thinking, as you said, it's energy, it's, you know, like it is what it is, or, you know, but we associate it too much with our value and who we are. And that's why I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but at the end of the day, it's not our identity. We can make things, you know, because there might be a fact, but we start to make things truth. And I think that's the kind of the problem with it.
Yeah, I think one of the things you said when we had a discussion was that we give money too much importance. We make it so important, don't we? And you know, other people make it so important too. And something that I was reflecting on was that people feel comfortable exchanging their services for other services sometimes, and that's okay. People feel comfortable giving things for free, and that's okay. But when it comes to actually charging money, sometimes the uncomfortableness comes up. And actually, you are making an exchange. You are making an exchange for your time and your energy in exchange for money, which is just energy as well. It's just a resource. It's just energy. It's nothing, neither good or bad. It's neither right or wrong. But we make it all of these things. And that discussion that was in the group, there was a lot of people saying, there was one really good point, wasn't there, about this is about your money story. But the lady that was making the point that I don't like people asking questions in the group because they sell in their services and all of that, was actually, you know, you could see, you know, nobody's really, when people do things, I think on social media, it's about judgment again. There's no really right or wrong. We're all on a journey. We're all testing things. We're all seeing what works, what doesn't work. You know, we're all kind of business owners in our own right, aren't we, doing these things? And it's a journey, and you're learning by that. So we judge it. We judge when people say about money. We judge when people promote their services in a particular way. And actually, money is just energy anyway. It's just an exchange that you make for your services.
Exactly. I don't know whether you saw, there was a video that someone posted, I think earlier in the week, and I think I remember sharing it. And it basically shows a gentleman going around to different businesses, you know, that normally you wouldn't dare kind of ask for free stuff or ask to pay later.
Yeah.
So he went to a restaurant, he went to like a graphic designer, he went to a personal trainer, and he was saying things like to the restaurant, how about if I have my coffee, let me taste it first, decide whether I like it, and then I'll pay at the end.
Yeah.
You know? And it was so funny to see the restaurant guy was like, are you crazy? Get out! How dare you? And then they turn around and it's like, you know, every time you do this to a creative person, that is in effect what you're doing. You know, like you wouldn't go into other places and dare expect to pay later. You wouldn't say, oh, I don't like it, can you do all the work for me? Like you just wouldn't do it. No. And if you tried, you'd be insulted. You know, like there was the personal trainer and he was like, look, you want me to train you, and then you want to decide whether you get results, then you want to pay me after, then you'll refer me, and then this is to help me in my career. Like, what kind of craziness is this? So it's so good, like, to see that, because like you said, we wouldn't do it normally.
No, but in coaching, it happens all the time. And it's really, you know, I was noticing as well that people, when they talk about money, they put spiritual with it, they put authentic with it, and it kind of, it's to soften that, isn't it, really, and not be talking about money. But money isn't, we're giving it importance then. It isn't anything, it's just energy. So I did a post a couple weeks ago about money comes from wood. You know, money comes from paper, paper comes from wood. If we're talking about wood, we don't do that. But we do when we talk about money. So yeah, in coaching, it happens a lot that I think a lot of coaches are afraid to kind of talk about money, afraid to make a proposal, afraid to ask for an exchange for their services, and they feel that they have to give lots and lots and lots of free stuff first, and you see it happening everywhere. And I'm not saying that that's not, you know, a not a good thing, because I think that it does show people that you've got value. It shows people who you are. It shows people more about what you do. But I think there's a point, isn't there, where you have to kind of respect your own time as well, and what you can provide in your value. And, you know, yes, we have funnels and, you know, where we have free stuff, and then we have things people can buy and things like that. And it's all based on needs. But but it's this inability in coaches to talk about money. I think is really something we're not talking about, which is why we called it Dirty Money, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We're just not talking about it.
It's just too important, too much importance placed on something that's really not important in a way. Like, yeah, we want it, we need it, you know, we transact, we do stuff, it helps us have a quality of life, but it doesn't make us evil. Yeah. And, you know, like we talk about, you know, money being the root of all evil, but as biblically, it's the love of money, not money.
No,
love of money.
Yeah.
Like, let's get the context right, you know, like it's the love, the emotion, all of the stuff it's created, not the paper that's wrong.
And in my experience, a lot of coaches, they're not money focused anyway. They are focused on helping people, they are focused on serving people, and they are focused on making a difference.
Yeah.
But they get a bit hung up on the money side of it. But it's knowing that you can, you know, it's an exchange, and money is just energy, and it's okay. You know, you deserve some money in return for what you provide. You know, what I learned when I was coaching, first of all, was that I didn't understand the value that I provided in the beginning, and as I learned the value that I provided, then I came to value the exchange more, and that I deserved to get paid for that. You know, and it's a bit weird because I used to work in mental health, so I used to do a lot of stuff in voluntary services for free. So I was used to helping people for free. But actually, so to come to charge for my services was really uncomfortable in the beginning for me. Yeah, but it's just noticing the amount of free stuff going out there, and actually that, you know, I could go out today and get free coaching off lots of different coaches because they all give free sessions, and I can have 10 coaching sessions with 10 different coaches. But I know that it's less about what I get for free and more about the value I place on it, and that by investing in myself and making that exchange, that I will value that more, and I will step up more, and I will create more with that coaching. Whereas if I just went out and got a session from lots of different coaches, I'm going to be confused. I'm going to, you know, not particularly, I mean, I still take action, but it's not the same, I don't think.
That's it, and it's also about the discipline that it provides you kind of with as well, doesn't it? You know, if you know you've got
regular kind of thing,
you've got something set, and even as coaches as well, when we are, and I found this, just so free with our time, we're over giving, and there is no discipline kind of in that. It's lovely, but it doesn't make business sense. It's not strategic. We're burnt out, we're tired, we're over giving, we're over delivering, or, you know, like people just calling us, contacting us, freely getting us, but that's not providing any worth or value for people, really.
And it doesn't, I don't think that serves the clients as much, to be honest. And I proposed on further earlier in the week as well, saying that, you know, I've been there for my clients, you know, when they've gone into hospital, I've visited them, and, you know, I've phoned them before job interviews and stuff like that. But then I thought, I've actually said no to them too, and said, I can't see you at this time, you need to create time to see me, because it's then helped them more. And they've said, you know, you taught me I could create time, so if I can create time for that, I can create time for other things.
That's it.
So we don't serve people by being that free with our time all the time. We serve them in a conversation, in an exchange where they, you know, it's not all about us giving, it's about the client kind of doing something too, isn't it?
That's it. And having to, like you said, give, not sacrifice, but having to pay the price for what they want also as well, because as we say, if we're always there, it's disempowering to them. It's so easy.
Yeah.
You know, we're not teaching them anything, whereas I find a lot of times as well, maybe they also could have solved the problem themselves. You know, maybe it wasn't really that terrible, but actually they just needed to think about it, but they've done that. I just need something now. And we've responded like a parent, you know, and that is not the relationship that we want to get into either.
No, that's it. Yeah. So it's good when people kind of do enter coaching, that they know what they're expected to do and what you're expected to do. And there is an exchange, isn't there? There is an exchange, you know, they both commit time, the coach and the client both commit time. and you know, the coach commits energy to that, and the client pays money for that service, and to have that, you know, to help them to either solve a problem or to get to what, you know, to achieve what they want to achieve. But as coaches, you know, the money thing, we do skirt around it a lot, I think, and we do feel comfortable giving things for free, and sometimes a bit too much sometimes, and not actually stepping up and, you know, offering people. I offered someone a while ago, I said, you know, we've been chatting a while now, and I feel I would serve you better by stepping up and offering you the opportunity to take this to another level and actually become a client, and to work on something in a more kind of focused way, I think. So we have to step up to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we step up, we have to talk about money, which we don't like.
Everything, because we're going to get labelled as being bad and salesy and awful and horrible.
There's a lot out there about not being salesy, and it's all about service and not being salesy. And when I first started, I didn't understand the distinction there. You know, what is soothing, and you know what is, but it is sales really. It is, you have a process that you go through, and it is about people's objections and stuff. So there is sales in there. And I think it's about the intention, that your intention is always positive for the client, and it's always about giving them what would serve them best. And sometimes it's in service to them to say, no, you're not ready. And no, because I think people have the misconception as well that coaching will just coach anyone. And it's not true. You know, we want people to be ready and committed, and to want to, you know, to be at the point where they will invest some time and energy and resources into themselves.
Yeah.
Not that we will coach anybody. I think when I first started, I felt I could, but it didn't work. You just get burnt out, you know. So
you do. And the other kind of misconception on that as well is that it's all about the coach kind of impacting this great knowledge and helping, and you're coming down from high to save this individual, and you do all the work. And I remember having the conversation with someone the other day. I was, you know, they're not a client, but I was saying, you know, you'd need to do this, and you'd need to do this and this, and it was like, yeah, but you're my coach. You'd be my coach, so like, it's up to you. Like, no. I
think that's about where people are as well, because some people, if they're not taking all responsibility into what, you know, what's their responsibility, they will think that you have to do it. And some people actually don't need a coach. They can do it on their own, but they like to have that support, and they like to have someone to have that consistency and stuff. And they tend to be, you know, they know they have to do some work. So they're the kind of ready, really know they have to do some work, ready to invest in themselves. Whereas some people think that, yes, you are going to do it all for them. And the problem is, well, when coaches are when they're skirting around the money issue and they're giving a lot of stuff away for free, if you have people who think that you're going to fix things for you, and actually nobody needs fixing anyway, then you're going to keep giving, and they will perhaps keep taking more. So it's really, the coaching relationship is one about mutual regard, and it's about kind of each having your responsibilities, I suppose, isn't it, in that and trust and all of those things.
Exactly. And I think also as well, like you said, when we are doing the skirting around money, I really need clients thing, it can become a people pleasing exercise.
It does,
you just want, like, you know, you're in your hunger phase, you're in your, oh my gosh, my bill, but you don't want to say money, and you just want to take anyone, you want to help anyone, you want to take anyone.
Because it's kind of me,
exactly, yeah. And that's not.
No.
And then, because then you make all kinds of wrong decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you're in your power, as you said, and you're conscious, and you're like, you know what, yeah, there's going to be money exchange. I'm here to serve this people. I'm not here for everyone. You know, then you're not doing things just to please people or just because you want another client. You know, and that, we're doing it from a better way.
Yeah. And I think it is important to say no to some people, because, like you said, you end up just having lots and lots of clients. So when I started, I thought that I would need lots and lots of clients, and then I realized I couldn't, and it would just be kind of take lots of time, and you'd be kind of looking for clients all the time, and you'd just be burnt out. So like this year, I'm working with 15 people because I know I can give them kind of more and more time and more energy, and I can work on some other stuff too. So, and I think that's a better place to work from.
Yeah, that's it.
You're not coming from need. I need that client. I need that client. You still have occasions where you still, as a coach. I think people think, oh, you sit back, it'll be easy, clients just come to you. And I remember at the beginning being sat in my office and thinking, I've got my laptop, I've got my office, I'm in the yellow pages, I'll get lots of people phoning me now, and nobody rang. And I sat there and I thought, oh, hang on a minute, I need to get out and perhaps like meet people and all of that. So it's hard, you have to kind of put yourself out there. This week I've been sending out letters, I've been putting out invitations to people and just connecting with people as well. So it's, when you start a coaching business, I think people look at you sometimes and they think, well, you can do it, it's easy. And it's not easy. There's a lot of work that goes on in having a coaching business, but you learn that you learn what works, and you learn that being in a place of abundance and saying no to clients as well, and not working with everybody works better than actually being a people pleaser and saying yes to everybody and being in that and all of those things. It doesn't work very well.
Yeah, no, exactly. That is exactly it as well. And, I think people kind of get into the zone where they think, oh, it's just about them. I'm your client. So like, it's just about me and my problem and my situation. But actually, it is about realizing there's much more to it kind of than that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And something that I was kind of reflecting on last week as well was that, being a coach, we talk about our lives a lot. Because we think that people will, and I do this, we think that people will see how we're doing things and then they will be able to do things. But actually, sometimes people just look at you and go, oh, yeah, but she can do it because she's like a coach or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's more about speaking to what are the needs of your clients and showing them how you can help them with those things, what benefits it would be for them working with you.
Yeah.
I think when we focus on that, it gets across much easier as well.
That's it. And when we do communicate with people, it's helping them to understand, I'm saying what I'm saying because I've been there. The fact that I can say this and I'm asking the questions and know the points.
You know what to ask, don't you?
Yeah, like I've suffered it. And I can see where you're going. And I don't want you to go where you're going. Obviously, you'll go on your own journey, but that's why I'm saying it. Not because it's easy and it's great, but I know what it feels like to go through the trenches. And that's why.
Yeah. But also, it's like people have to learn their own lessons sometimes as well, because even when we say, ask them a question that we kind of know, we see where things are going, but when we ask them the question or we know which question to ask, they still have to take it, or they still have to learn that lesson. And sometimes they don't, and that's okay, because what will happen, and I was talking about this again this morning, is that I have journals and I look through them and the same lesson pops up again and again. So I go back and think, oh, I haven't learned that one yet. But so-and-so said that to me, and so-and-so said that to me. So maybe that's something I need to learn. So it's like they will learn it, but sometimes people haven't had enough pain to learn that lesson yet as well. Yes. So it's like not keeping them out of that sometimes, but supporting them through it, because pain is a great lesson learner, or lesson teacher. Yeah. And that's how we learn our lessons too.
That is very true. That's true. You have to, it's like the child, isn't it? When you keep telling them, don't put your hand near the fire, don't put your hand near the fire. It's the day that they actually put their hand in the fire and get burnt. You haven't told them, you leave them, then they'll know, I'm not putting my hand in the fire again.
Like, if they don't put the hand in the fire, that's a don't, so that's a negative. So the unconscious mind doesn't do negatives.
Yeah, exactly.
Put the hand in the fire.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they're going to do it. And then we wonder, like, why do they do that? It's like, because I told them not to. But obviously,
told them not to. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so we have to not do that. Yeah. But yeah, I just think I see a lot of. I look at coaches, even the ones saying I earn six figures and stuff like that, and I know that I've spoken to other coaches and they said, how do we tell who's really earning six figures and who's not earning six figures? Because people just say they are sometimes, don't they? And how can we tell? But even those people, you can see sometimes, you know, you look and think it's not easy. That's not easy what they're doing. You know, being constantly out there on social media is not easy.
No.
But money is you know, we all, it's because it's not easy as well, because I think when we enjoy things more, it's easier, isn't it? When we let go of things, it's easier. So it's the same with money. You know, when we let go of all the thoughts that we have around money, when we realize it's just energy, it's easier to talk about it.
Definitely.
It's a bit of a true subject, isn't it?
I know. I mean, I feel kind of with the whole, you know, who's earning figures and who's not, that I feel a bit like I really don't care.
No,
you know, like, why should the label matter?
Yeah.
The fact that you're doing what you're doing, you're having a great life, you know, you're able to be who you are, that's fine. I don't care about the six figures, and I'm not watching and chasing everyone's six figures or judging them, you know, oh, they're terrible because they're saying that. Like, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I think we need to also just let people be, like, just stop putting people under pressure. Because like you said, if you're a six-figure earner and everyone's watching you and saying, oh, you need to be like this and you need to do that and that needs to happen and I'm expecting that and I'm judging you and I have the right to talk about, you know, your money and what you're doing, like, that's also not a good place either, is it?
You need to focus on your own stuff.
Yeah. Why are we doing that? It's like creating so much. I mean, again, ain't no judgment in it, but yeah, chill out. Really.
Yeah. And it's that original discussion that we saw about people saying how people were promoting their services and stuff like that. I think there was a lot of judgment in that, in terms of you know, we are all on our own journey. We are all kind of learning things. It doesn't matter how far into it you get, you are still learning. You know, even six-figure companies, they're still learning. And it's just knowing that everybody's on their own journey. When I first started in coaching, I remember looking at some of the other coaches and thinking, gosh, they're so far ahead of me, I'll never. It's a comparison. So people compare as well, don't they?
They do, yeah.
It's not useful. It's not helpful to compare.
Not at all. Yeah, we need to spend less time looking out there and more time serving, communicating, loving, doing what we're doing, building our own empires, creating a legacy, and actually making a difference.
Making a difference.
Life would be so much, yes.
Yeah. And when you do that, it's okay to exchange it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It can be a problem. You know, it's like you said before, like jewelry. Everything else that we have in life costs money. And everything else, I think we said this in our conversation before, you will pay for. Yeah. You know, you wouldn't go to the plumber, you wouldn't go to Tesco's and say, actually, I see that bar of chocolate. I don't want to pay the £1. I think I want to pay 20p.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, it was quite funny. I've been doing a couple of local indoor boot sales because I've also got a Kids Be Happy stand-up business. So I do some crafts, stalls and indoor boot sales. And I've seen a couple of people in those times really haggle.
You do get a lot of haggling at boot sales.
Serious. Like, there two people really stand out. One lady a couple of weeks ago, she went and the woman, she had an article of clothing.
Yeah.
And she was like, the woman said, it's £3 or you can get 3 for 10.
Yeah.
She said, I'm giving you £1. And then she was like, no, £3.
Yeah.
I'm giving you £1.
Yeah.
And she kept having this conversation with her about how I'm giving you £1.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm your best customer.
Yeah.
I'm giving you £1.
Yeah.
I was like, no. So this went on maybe for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
For this item of second-hand clothing, you know, 10 minutes. In the end, she went away, she came back, she spoke to the woman's colleague, and then I think they gave it to her for £2. No, she pulled out £2.
Yeah.
And was like, yeah, this is all I've got. And was waiting for her change.
what a master negotiator.
I know. I thought, what?
But you know what? Like, I do a lot of asking for stuff as well, because like if you don't ask, you don't get.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So what she did was she went to the one lady when she didn't get anywhere. She cranked up the pain and just said more and more and more,
Yeah.
and didn't get anywhere. So then she went to the other lady, and she got somewhere.
She did. And it was just kind of crazy. Like, and that's what the
Yeah.
other one did as well. Like 10 minutes, literally. Like, I'm giving you this. I'm giving you this.
Yeah.
But it's like, but again, that's what happens sometimes in coaching, doesn't it, as well? Like, people want to give you what they want to give you.
Yeah, but then you've got to ask, well, maybe that's their budget for coaching, and maybe you're not the coach for them, and maybe you need to refer them to a different coach where their budget would be more kind of realistic for their coaching.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that maybe, because I know that, coaching it's kind of like when you make that exchange, you exchange money for someone's time and energy, and what you're doing is when you are asking for discounts, you are devaluing what that coach, the relationship really, aren't you? Devaluing it. But at the same time, you understand that some people just don't have that budget for coaching.
No.
So again, it's like not working with everybody, and realizing that. But it's kind of sticking to this is what it costs as well sometimes, isn't it? Because valuing ourselves and valuing what we provide. And also what it means is that, some clients, if you do that and you discount, some clients will have paid that. And so by discounting for other clients, I don't know, I don't feel comfortable with that really sometimes, because I think that it's not a good thing to do.
No, and I think also the other thing as well is if, because we do all sometimes make allowances and do different things, it's also about working out, isn't it? What can suit that person. If we realise that, yes, they are someone that we are here to serve, but it's not about giving them exactly the same thing and the same program in the same way as you said that someone has paid for. Yeah.
Yeah, what I would do is I would say, okay, so that's your budget for coaching. Well, what I can give you for that is not this amount of coaching, but maybe we can do this amount of coaching.
Exactly.
And we would do that. Or maybe they would need to go to a different coach as well.
That's it.
Yeah, or maybe they would like some resources, or maybe there's some online stuff that they could start with.
Yeah.
Kind of and move on to coaching. And I give lots of kind of free coaching, in a sense, but I would give a couple of sessions to talk to, just to realize if that person, I want to work with that person, if they're ready, or if they're in that place where they understand they have to take action, they're willing to make that investment, and they know what it's going to entail is about what it's about. Because if you do at the beginning, I kind of used to propose to people. We did a 90-day money game, and I used to propose to people like on the first session of talking to them. And I have clients that I have proposed to in the first session, and they said yes. But at the same time, they were ready. Some people I proposed to 5 people in a week when I did the 90-day money game, and they all said yes, and then they all changed their minds because they weren't ready. So it's you talk to people maybe for 2 or 3 sessions just to kind of get. Some people will sign up on the first session because they're ready, and some people, 2 or 3 sessions really kind of gets you, so you can know if they're who you want to work with, and so that they can know that it's right for them, and then you've built some trust and stuff like that as well. But actually, when people are ready, they'll sign up in the first session.
Yeah, because they'll feel that connection, won't they? They'll feel there's a pull.
They're ready.
They're ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's noticing the people that are ready and the people that know what it costs, what the investment is. They don't expect it to be free, those people. So some people kind of do expect things free. But again, that's where they are, isn't it?
It is. That's it.
They are taking responsibility. And if someone expects something to be free, I would question whether they are ready for coaching, because they're not taking responsibility maybe for their lives.
And you kind of find, ironically as well, the people who are in that position kind of neediness are obviously often the ones that expect more. They want your time, they want the extra, they want to do all these, you know, they want what they shouldn't really have.
Yeah.
Because they are at that level of need that they just want.
Yeah.
And as you said, that there is something else that they probably need to support them kind of in where they are as well.
I would say that someone who is like that would probably not be at the stage where I would coach them, but they probably have more learning to do before.
Yes.
So it might be to send them some resources. It might be that you have an online program that they could kind of dip into and maybe learn some of those things before they're ready for coaching, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly, to prepare them, because otherwise it's just going to be a problem. And it's more hassle than what it's worth for both of you, because they're not going to get the best out of it, and neither are you, because you're not excited to talk to them.
Yeah, that's it. So there's a lot. I mean, coaching, I don't think people really realize what coaching is and how there's a lot for the coach to think about as well. And to, but you definitely, as a coach, I think you work better from a place of calmness and presence and abundance and all of those things. So you have to do a lot of work on yourself too, don't you? You have to you have to be able to see through your story and, you know, be able to be coming from a good place as well.
Yeah.
To, you know, let go of your stuff and, you know, hold that space for that person and have a good intention for them too.
Exactly. I don't know whether you've seen her, but Diane Pauley really puts it really well when she was sharing, and she talks about strategic vulnerability and sharing from your scars, you know, so that you've been able to go through your healing first before you're sharing about your situation. So it's not kind of bringing up mess and, you know, all the old feelings, and you're not kind of sharing looking for sympathy, but you're sharing from an empowered kind of place, and it's the reason, not whining and moaning and kind of all of that. And definitely, as you said, in order to be of service the most, you have to have gone through it. I think there's a lot of people, even with starting business, that haven't addressed a lot of issues and go into business thinking, I'll make money, I can be my own boss, I get to do what I want, no one will tell me what to do, I love it, subject matter expert, all of that. And then it's like, it hits them and they're like, oh gosh, why do I feel like this? But because they haven't gone through that learning and journey, they've just looked at, right, money, yeah, gonna make it, I'm on my own, no one tells me what to do. And then they find they have problems. And I think that's part of the reason as well, like I want to do what I want to do, to help people, to support with lifting that up and people realizing that there's a lot it takes. You can't just open a business and be like, yep, my business.
No, I found that when I first started and I was sat in my office with my laptop, I went for the phone to ring. And you go, oh, it's not, that's not it. You don't just kind of build it and people show up.
Yeah, they will come.
That might happen to some people. I don't know.
Well, I was saying earlier, like, again, where I had part of the issue was that did happen in the beginning, because I before I left work, a referral, someone I knew had referred some business to me. That lasted a couple of months. And I was like, oh, it's going to be like this all the time. Like, everyone I know is just going to refer business to me. Like, I'm just going to sit here and be like, I've left my job. Bring business, like that's gonna happen. And then it was then learning the hard way that there needs to be stuff. Like that doesn't happen. And then I got into the trap of running around everywhere, you know, going to all the seminars and following everyone and all the you know, 10K in a week challenges. And then it was like, hang on, why is nothing working? Like,
well, then you're trying too hard then, are you?
Exactly. So I went from one extreme to the other, like just sitting there and
actually, if we know that we can serve people more from a place of presence and a place of calmness, then all that running around and being everywhere at the same time doesn't really, you've got to slow down, haven't you?
You
slow down, and you notice more then as well.
You do. And that's when the strategy, which we hate, so people hate creative people hate that word, strategy.
People don't like the word strategy.
No, because discipline, structure. I'm creative. Like you got to have it. Like you need it.
Strategy. I avoided the I was all kind of I love this, I love doing this and all this, and I avoided structure for a while when I set up my business, because I thought structure would kind of pen me in and I wouldn't have the freedom. But actually, structure it gives you more freedom in a sense. You need structure. You need strategy. You need kind of and I'm kind of learning more now about the kind of the strategic stuff. So it's a constant learning journey, isn't it?
No, it definitely is. And I mean, like you said, with the strategic, I again am someone that is strategic and creative. But I think for a while I thought I had to be one or the other. And then it was like, I've chosen a creative path.
Yeah.
I'm doing creative stuff. Therefore, like Mr. Strategy out the window, throw that part of me out the window because I can't be that.
Yeah.
And I think it's not until when I've learned that, what, I need that. That's how I work. That's how it works well with me. As you said, the creativity flows better when it has those things in place. That's when I'm working better.
We work better when we connect, when we're present and we connect with ourselves and we just be ourselves, because like there's stuff about labels as well, like are we strategic, are we creative? It's boxes, isn't it? Are we an introvert, are we an extrovert? And actually
I'm an empath, I'm not. So I just am, I feel stuff, like it's fine.
I'm me. I'm a human being,
I'm a person with a character.
And we're learning and we get things wrong, and I notice stuff all the time, but it's how we deal with it differently. Because generally, I think if you have that awareness, when you notice things, you can make adjustments and you deal with things differently, don't you? So it's like we've noticed this kind of avoidance of money and this kind of judgment of money and this just that we give it too much importance. And we had a discussion about it, which is why we planned this one then as well. So it's all really, really interesting. I find it really interesting that, I think we'll always see that, because people are at different parts of their journey as well. So we'll always see that. But I think that we just wanted to highlight as well that was kind of going on, and maybe for people to be a little bit more aware of it, isn't it? And aware that it's not real. And
that's it. And think about where they're, creating these limitations in their own life and these labels. And, like we said about it stops you from taking action. I haven't got money. I haven't got this. I haven't got the 10K. I haven't got this. So therefore, I'm not giving anything and I can't do anything. But actually, use what you have in your hand. Like the old saying, do whatever you have. If you're not going to get to, you want to get to 10K, but you're not taking any steps with £1. Like, that makes no sense, really. You need to start somewhere. It's not like, oh, when I have that, then. And I think we do that a lot, don't they? When I have, when that has, when that comes.
Yeah, people do get stuck in that. When I have that, I can start. I can't start until I have this thing. I can't start yet. I've got another course. I can't. You've got people at that end who get very stuck in it, and then you've got people at this end, like coaches at this end, who just get a little bit kind of overwhelmed and stuck in a bit of thinking, I think. So there's different ends of it again, isn't there?
It is.
Yeah.
Blend and shimmy and do it all.
I hold myself back still sometimes, but then I recognize it and I see the process and I think, what can I do about it? So like I'm this end, whereas somebody this end would be really stuck in it and not know and not realize they could do anything about it, not know what to do or where to start, and they'd be looking for other people to help them to do that, wouldn't they? Whereas I know that I can do that myself. I just need to recognize it first of all and maybe reflect on it, look at it, and then usually let it go. Let it go anyway.
I mean, that's so funny you say that. I have a lot of conversations with myself. I must be like a crazy person.
I talk to myself all the time.
I'm there, like, it's like, oh, okay, so you're doing, oh, okay, you're doing that. So what's the reason? No, okay, no, Selena, no.
And it is doing that. No, we're not going there.
We're not. It's not. No.
Yeah. So it's,
you're not holding me back. I recognise it's that. No.
Yeah. And I still get little thoughts, little automatic thoughts sometimes, and I go, no, cancel that.
Yeah. No. That was me that used to do that. I don't do that anymore. No.
But it takes a lot of, like, you have to, like, move along that process to get there, don't you? And you have to kind of train your mind and train yourself to kind of do that. I started off, like, when I was getting negative thoughts or things that would keep me stuck, I would go, stop, rewind. What are you doing? It's like not having that discussion in your head, but kind of talking to yourself out loud and just kind of pulling yourself. It is like a pulling yourself together, really, and thinking, what are you doing? Is that going to take you where you want to go? No. What do I need to do? Do I need to, like, shake that off? Do I need to let it go? Do I need to, what am I trying to control here that I can't control anyway? Because that's not real either.
Well, this is it. Exactly. We can't. But we're getting ourselves into a whole load of stuff that we don't need to. It's like how I created my throw off stress dance. Again, it was just like, no, stop it. Stop getting yourself in this situation.
Yeah. It's kind of like, it's a bit of self-coaching, isn't it? It's a bit of kind of coaching yourself, and it's all the time. It's not, it's like you train yourself to get to be there. So it's not that we don't have, like, limitations. It's not that we don't have things show up or negative things. It's just that we've trained ourselves to put our focus on something else, and and we know that we've learned the lesson that we need to let go of it, or that we can't control it, or it's pointless, doing that. It's a waste of energy. So we'd rather put our energy into something else.
Yeah, that's it. Doing good in the world and building some stuff and having some fun. Yeah.
Yeah, and being creative and doing all these things.
Exactly. Because it can just keep you down in the hole, can't it? If you're just caught up in the emotions. And I think the other thing as well is when you are caught up in the cycle, again, it's being reactive, isn't it?
It is.
Reacting to situations, like we're talking about the money, it's reacting to something. It's, things are happening to us almost.
Yeah.
But when you're able to own and say and, be proactive, it's like move yourself to a different position, kind of, don't you, as well?
And you don't have to deal with it straight away.
No.
So, like, if something's going on and you have a thought, you think, I'll park that for later. I'll have a look at that later. Or you think I don't have to do that straight away. It would benefit me just to reflect on that for a while.
But that's another thing I think people struggle with, isn't it? Everyone wants to be instant. So I know for me, for example, again, if a situation comes up or someone wants my response, I think about it and I stop, and I'm fine with, okay, I'm going to come back to you later. I'm going to talk to you later about this thing. Whereas I found it has irritated some people because it's like, I want to do it now. Respond now.
Yeah.
I want that now. But actually, it's like, no.
You're not being present.
No.
When you're being present, you're like, there's nowhere you need to be. There's nothing you need to do. And you need to think about, so you know that you serve people better by being in a place of presence and calm. So it's like, I'm running around with my 3-year-old, and I do answer people straight away sometimes, but if I'm running around with my 3-year-old and a client contacts me, I might not necessarily do it straight away because I have to deal with that first, like with my son first, and not, I don't want to just quickly send something. I want to be in that place before I send it. I want to be in that present place. I want to be in that place that will serve them better.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'm just throwing things out, aren't I? And just reacting.
Yeah. And you're neither good for either situation, are you? Because you're not with your son, you're not with your client, you're not with wherever you are. And both of them are getting kind of half-parted bits.
Yeah.
Whereas let's fully be present in whatever we're doing. Take the time fully.
And I think yesterday I was reflecting and thinking that I do like to compartmentalize my life like that.
Yeah, I do.
Because I did connect with another women's borough last week, and my little boy was here, and it ended with bananas being smeared all up the walls. And I had to message her. It was just a connection, but I had to message her and say, did we have a date for that? I know I've got this written down, but did we organise a date for that? because there was so much going on. And I thought after that, I do like to compartmentalize my life. I like to do my work when I'm doing my work, and being present, serving those people. And I like to be present with my son then, and not mixing the two. And I think people having that balance is important, because people try and mix the two all the time.
They do. As luck would have it, my delivery is just
yeah.
It's the door. So hang on there, and I'll be back in 2 seconds. I'm just going to perch you there for a minute. Keep talking, and I'll come back.
I will. I'll keep talking. Yeah. So we've covered lots of topics today. Really, we've covered. We initially had a talk about money and how people kind of skirt around money in a sense, and it doesn't feel good, and you can tell how that's happening as well when you see it on social media and stuff like that. But we've talked a lot about coaching today as well, and we've talked about maybe coming from that place of presence in order to be able to serve people better. So being in that kind of better place rather than reacting, and how we move through this journey as coaches. So we move through kind of, when I started, I wanted to kind of sit there and thought everybody's going to ring me and clients would just show up, and that didn't happen. And also, moving towards being present and being in that better place. So we've covered that too. I think we've covered lots of other things as well. But it'd be interesting for people who are watching this really to reflect on where they are in that journey, and what sort of clients they are working with, and maybe how that's changed from when they started. Maybe what are their thoughts around money, and how do they avoid really talking about it openly? Because money comes from paper comes from wood. When we talk about wood, it's just wood. We don't have any thoughts really attached to it. We don't have any feelings attached to it. We don't have any reluctance or resistance towards it. It's just wood. I've got a wooden table, and I have no resistance towards my wooden table like I would have if I maybe talked about money. So I was just saying how wood and money and all of that, and some of the topics that we've covered. Yeah. Interesting for people who are watching this maybe to reflect on that, and reflect on how what resistance they have to talking about money, because it's just like, I think we mentioned last time that like sex is a bit of a taboo subject, and nobody ever talks about sex. But if we talked about sex, we'd all be having better sex, because I don't have sex anymore because I'm single. But if people communicated about sex, they would have better sex, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
If we communicate about money, and we have conversations about money, and we talk about money, then we can kind of let go of a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
But we just don't talk about it enough.
Exactly, and we'd respect also our ability or state of just being.
Yeah.
As well, like you were saying about sex as well. Like there wouldn't be pressure on either side. It's like, if you don't partake, that's fine. If you do, it's also okay. It's just a thing. It's up to you.
That's an exchange as well, isn't it?
Yeah. In a big way, yeah.
Resources and all of that. It's exactly the same thing. But again, that would be enhanced by being present.
Yes.
So maybe we just need to be present as well with money. Because the moment we go, oh, it's like the love of all money is the root of all evil, or money is the root of all evil, or what would people think about me if I charge this much money? Maybe we just need to be present with that.
Yeah.
Be running off anyway. And something that I do when I do proposals with people, I from doing it wrong, I've learned to do it this way, is that I will say, they'll say, how much does it cost? And I'll always say that it's not a cost, it's an investment. And actually, it is an exchange of time and energy, and you have to do something too. But poor people tend to focus on cost, and that's why they live in lack and all of that. Middle class people tend to focus on buying liability, so cars, houses, so they can look good with the Joneses, and all those things cost them money. And then wealthy people know how to invest, And they know that investments always pay off because you get much more out than you put in. But when I say this is what the investment is, then, and then I just be quiet and I just sit there and be present and kind of read the person. And sometimes they'll say, that's a lot. And I will go, what is it costing you right now not to be doing this thing, or not to be doing this thing, or not to be solving this problem? And then they will say, oh yeah, that's a lot. And then I'll say, and what will it be worth you when you have it, or when you've achieved it, or when you've done that thing, or when you know, how will you feel when you're working towards it? Because at the moment you're stuck or whatever. So it's really, I'll stay present, but I'll move the client around in time to get them to understand, because they're focusing on the cost, to get them to understand that it costs them to do nothing as well, and it costs them to not get what they want. So, and then I go, how does it sound now? And sometimes they'll go, let's do this, because they've not really looked at that stuff. They don't look, their focus isn't on that stuff. Their focus is on the cost. That doesn't always kind of, because that's helping them to get over that hurdle then as well. And you know what, when that happens, they really step up, and actually they really get involved in coaching then, and they go off and do great things, and they really don't need a coach at that point.
No.
It's getting past that decision that's the block. But once they get past that decision, they don't really need a coach then. They've started. And it's just with anything that we do, like people get stuck, but it's like if they just took one small step, or took that leap, then they kind of hit the ground running, and then they go off and they do it. But it's that decision that keeps them stuck.
Yeah, because that's a challenge, isn't it, for people as well, making decisions.
But yeah,
they want to make decisions because it's about what's at the end of it. It's
commitment then as well, because once you said you'll do something, you have to do it, don't you?
Yeah.
But decisions can be liberating too. It's like I've never ever had a tattoo. And I thought, I'm 42, I've never had a tattoo. I've always thought about it. I've had pictures on my computer, but never really decided what I wanted. So before Christmas, I went into 2 tattoo shops, and I asked a few questions, and I was just kind of exploring what it would be like. And then I picked something that I wanted, and I went down and I booked it, and they couldn't do it till after Christmas. But even just making that decision, I thought, oh, I feel good now. I feel good that I've decided, even though I hadn't done anything yet. And I think sometimes that even just making a decision makes people feel better.
That's it.
And I had my tattoo a month later, and I really like it. And, you know, yes, it was painful, and yes, it hurt. And yes, it was a bit of an endurance task, because it took 4 hours. And, you know, for a first tattoo, it was quite big. It's on my arm there.
Oh, wow.
But, you know, I avoided that decision for a long time, but thought it would be nice to do. Because, and I thought, well, I'm 42, you only live once. Just do it, and just go and do it, and just make that decision, and then you'll do, you know. And I could have used the story that I had, but I didn't know what I wanted, and that was my story. I didn't know what I wanted, and I couldn't decide. But actually, when you make that decision, you have a deadline then by which you have to decide what you want.
Yeah, you do.
Once you've made that decision, it can help you to move forward, because you have a deadline. So I had to find something that I really wanted and decide on that before the date that I had my appointment. Otherwise, I'd have just gone on going, oh, well, I don't really know what I wanted. Maybe one day I'll do it.
You get stuck.
You get stuck.
That cycle of not knowing, not committing, not doing it. Oh, but I've always wanted one.
Yeah, but you know what? Making a decision, I think people focus on decisions about commitment, and they have to do it, and they focus on all the wrong things.
And what am I going to miss out on?
But making a decision, what are you going to gain by making that decision?
Yeah.
What are you going to, how is your life going to be enhanced by making that decision? How are you going to feel better? Making a decision can make you feel better instantly, because you're actually taking some movement towards what you want. If you're feeling stuck, going around that, oh, well, I don't know, I might do it one day and all that, it doesn't feel that good.
No, it's like when people do the, oh, I'm going to go along for an easy life thing. I'm not going to say no. I'm going to people please. I'm going to keep doing this because it feels awful.
It's awful, yeah.
Having been there, like, it doesn't feel nice. And obviously especially if you're trying to do things for other people. It never works. It never works anyway.
In the short term, it works because they do it and they feel better. But in the long term, it creates more work. But a lot of people are short-term mindsets. They focus on the short term. They focus on it.
I want to feel that feeling. Do it now.
But actually, people who have, it's about that journey again, where they are in their journey. And people who have that long-term mindset, they know that, you know, if they're going to have a coach, they're going to be expected to do some work. They know it's not going to be easy. They know it's going to be a journey. But the journey is amazing. It's never about the end result. It's always about the journey anyway, and the learning and what you get from that. And to actually kind of make a decision and step up and to be achieving something feels good. And it feels a lot better than, you know, if you're creating something for the future, if that person's not people pleasing and they decide to be a bit more assertive and start to look after themselves a bit more, they'll get a bit of resistance from other people sometimes about that, because they've created what they've got at the moment. They've created that they will people please, and people can, you know, their focus is on other people. But they can create something else. And yes, that will be hard work at the beginning, maybe, because they have to, it doesn't have to be hard work, because they can kind of let go of things, and there's easier ways to do it, isn't there? But it's going to be a bit of a struggle at the beginning, probably, for them to do that.
Yeah.
In the longer term, it means they have more time for themselves. It means that they value themselves more. It means that other people respect them more, because when you give and people please, you'll also get people who will take, and you'll also deplete yourself in a sense.
They'll take very happily.
Yeah. And there was something I was listening to the other day about, I think it was Esther and Abram Hicks, and it was saying about when we take time for ourselves and we look after ourselves, and we're selfish sometimes. But what if someone tells you you're selfish or you feel selfish, then what that means is that why are you paying attention when you should be paying attention to me? And that's what they call selfish.
Yeah.
So it's not selfish at all. It's selfless, because when you spend time on yourself, you get to be more in that place of presence and more in that place of service to people. And by filling yourself up first, you get to help others in a deeper way. So it's about serving others then, rather than helping them, because you're helping them in the short term, aren't you? But you're not really teaching them anything if you're people pleasing.
That's it. And I always say, if the plane says it, then, you know, put your own mask on first. Comes from the plane. They know what they're talking about. So we need to just apply that in every situation, as you said. And it's not about only thinking of yourself ever, you know, like the world just revolves around me, because that's a whole different thing. But as you said, if we are focused so much on out there and out there and out there, and then in here is nothing and it's empty, it's like, what are you giving to people? You're not giving people anything.
I think what I've realised is that everything stems from where you are.
Exactly.
So it does start from you, but when you're in that place of presence, and when you're in that place of calmness, and when you're not reacting and all of that, that your focus then is on your clients, but you can focus on them because you're full up, and
that's it. And
you can see what's going on, and you can take a step back from it and see the bigger picture and all of that stuff. And that's a good place to be. It's kind of like being in your higher self, isn't it? When you're in your higher self, you have a different perspective of things. You can serve better from that place. Your intention is for the client. So when you're in that place, it is all about the client. But before you get in front of your client and in that place, you have to. It all starts from you.
Yeah.
It all comes from where you are. We create things in the world dependent on where we are. People at this end of the spectrum who are not taking responsibility and all of that stuff, they're creating something there which is stemming from who they are. Self-fulfilling prophecies. They're attracting lack because they're in lack.
Yeah.
When you move the other end and you're at that higher self place and you can sit back and see what's going on and serve people better, you create a whole different thing.
And sometimes as well, when we are in that place, like we said, of lack and, you know, all of the insecurity, a lot of the time we do it to deflect it off ourselves as well, without realizing But because we haven't done the addressing and we haven't kind of done that, you know, the relationship with ourselves isn't in a good place, we do try and put everything in other things, you know. So you hear parents and it's like, my life is just about my child, or it's just about this, and you're trying to make other relationships work because the relationship here doesn't work. But you don't realize what you need to do is deal with this first, and that helps the other things.
Because once you have that, you can create more effectively. Then you create something different, don't you? When you're in that good place. So and I think it's about that journey again. Everybody's on a journey, aren't they? There are different spots and different places in that journey. And it's not to say that when you get to this end and you take responsibility, you don't fall into like a victim role and you don't fall into lack. But when you're at this end, what you do is, if you notice lack, if you notice negative thoughts, if you notice you falling into victim mode or whatever, you go, whoa, hang on a minute, we're not going there. No, this way. And you're aware. So from that place of your kind of higher self and presence and all of that, you can be more aware of things because you slow down, you're present. When you're in lack and you're rushing around and you're people pleasing, you don't notice those things. You can't be aware of those things.
You don't notice anything.
You don't notice anything.
You're almost sleepwalking, aren't you? You're just drifting a lot of the time.
Yeah, that's it.
And it's reacting to whatever comes up that you're just sort of dealing with, aren't you?
Yes.
You don't have time to be present and conscious.
No, which is why slowing down is really important. And
exactly.
Being present is really important as well in all of that. Because otherwise you don't notice things, do you?
Yeah. And it's also realizing that there is a process as well, because the other thing people do sometimes, they have that moment of awakening when they stop people pleasing, stop doing the stuff, and then they turn and change, but it misses some of the heart as well. So people, you know, I'm not going to let anyone tell me what to do. I'm not going to let anyone. And then you just kind of become exactly the same as the people that you don't want to do stuff with. So it is also about, as I said, remembering that heart and that service and that love in your transition kind of to move over to the other side as well.
And I think at points like that as well, it's about going a bit deeper. So it's about, you know, they've had an insight. And sometimes we could think as coaches, oh, that's great, they've had an insight. But actually, like, explore that, what is that about? And going a little bit deeper with it, because otherwise it's not as powerful, is it? You can get a bit more power from going deeper with that.
I think that's a really big thing that you said there as well, is about going deeper. And I think a lot of people want to do surface, don't they? They want to do just very sort of lip service, on the level. Yeah, I felt it. I've changed now.
Yeah.
But actually, it takes real vulnerability and really going inside in a process for you to actually reach that stage of higher self. You know, and it's layers and layers. And even when, as we said, you know, we're at the level that we're at, again, there's new things that come up. And it is that depth. Like, it's not a once and done. You need to keep going constantly. And like we said, a lot of people, I think, don't want to feel that pain. They don't want to feel that stuff. So when we relate it also back to money, they want to do anything that is, you know, going to avoid any tiny little feeling of pressure or pain. So
I like pain. I do. I remember having a challenge that I had to do and not quite getting there. And then being really angry. First thing I felt was like frustration and then anger because I tried so hard. And this was like a while ago. I tried so hard and I was just kind of started beating myself up in my head about it. And then my partner at the time said, oh, but you're really good. And I said, no, leave me in this pain. I need to sit in this pain for around 10 minutes now so that I can use it to motivate myself. You know, I want to sit in this pain. I want to sit in the pain, but only for 10 minutes. I think people, when they get pain, they stay in it too long, really.
Yeah.
But if you did it and you be honest with yourself and you sit in that pain for 10 minutes, then it kind of moves you forward. But when you avoid sitting in that pain, you kind of stay where you are. You don't move forward. Yeah. So I quite like pain. I think pain is a great lesson. It's a great teacher. It's a great motivator. I don't do that as much now as I used to, maybe because I've learned lots more. But when I did get it, you know, when I do something and it doesn't work, I think what I tend to do now is I tend to, okay, let's find another way, let's rejig it. But I have this belief there's always a way. And sometimes it's about letting things go and trusting things, and sometimes it's about just doing something else and adding something else to it, and just getting something out there a bit more widely and stuff like that. But I always like, you know, I used to sit baby in the failure of something and help that to motivate, but it would help me to go forward. And my coach that I had when I first started said, Natasha, your file is huge. And I had this massive file of stuff. And she like, it doesn't matter what happens, you'll never, ever, ever give up. And you'll never stop. And I think I just keep going and keep going and keep going. But people, when they get a bit of pain, they give up, don't they?
Yeah. Because that's sometimes it as well, isn't it? Sometimes we give up just before. You know, we just needed to go through that process a little bit more.
Yeah.
And it's about not putting labels on things as well, because sometimes there are times where you need to stop. Like, you're not going in a way, and you need to know that, and you need to stop.
Yeah.
There are times that need us to move forwards, and I think it's, not being so fixed in things, like I'm just going to keep going or I'm just going to keep stopping. But it's letting you be present.
I mean, now what I do is yes, I work really hard at things, and I tend to like work really focused for a good few hours on. I'd rather work focused on a good few hours on something and get a lot done and do a bit of massive action for a couple of hours, but then I create space and I have a couple of hours where I don't do, you know, I just being, or I'm just creating, or I'm working, you know, I go for a walk or something like that. I like to do stuff like, so I have this balance then.
Yeah.
I'm not constantly kind of, because otherwise you burn yourself out. You've got to fill yourself up as well, haven't you? You've got to look after yourself. So to keep yourself in that place of, and I think that for me, that'll probably kind of blend a bit more after a while.
Yeah.
It used to be a bit more erratic, but it's getting kind of more restful in these, you know, I'll switch that. And I know that when I did something around masculine and feminine energy, so it's focus and flow, I felt that I was kind of dipping into masculine, dipping into feminine, dipping into focus, dipping into flow. But now I'm just kind of being me, and I don't do that as, it's not as, I think when you start something, it's kind of like you're consciously moving from that to that.
Yeah.
After a while, it just blends, doesn't it?
That's it. It's just an automatic stream of
so then
your consciousness
flowing more.
Yeah. It's a bit more graceful, isn't it?
It is a bit more graceful.
Feeling natural, and that's when the feminine is they're beautifully packaging it.
Probably kind of so you're consciously doing it, and then you probably kind of internalize it, and you just become that then. So it's you know, it's everything is a. I saw a quote the other day, and it said it's okay to be magnificent and in progress at the same time.
Work in progress. Yeah, I saw that, and that's so true though. That's true, because we are in a human vessel body, you know, but we do have our higher spirit selves and whatever as well. So it is about them both coexisting and realizing that we are learning, we are, you know, working things out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we need to stand kind of in that identity as well.
Yeah. And I think another difficulty for people is that, you know, what other people think sometimes. Me and my little boy, we were late for school twice recently. Now, I've never been late before, and I was late for school twice, and I've had a letter from the school now saying I was late and all that. And I'm just like, I don't worry about it. I just go, well, you know, things happen.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Happen, you know, it's twice. But some people, it was a time when I would have worried about that, and it would have given me anxiety, and I would have rushed and stuff. But I think, well, do you know what? It's twice. You know, there's probably people that are always late, and it's not the end of the world, you know. And I don't worry about it so much as I used to. I don't really worry about it at all, but used to before I started being a coach, I would worry about that, and I would perhaps worry about what they thought. And I actually showed up late the one day, and I thought there was a time when I would have over-explained myself too. And I showed up late, and I just went, oh, hi, thanks for opening the gate, and popped him in, and I didn't even explain myself or why I was late. But and I know that's okay. I don't have to do that because it's a fact that we're late, and I can't change it. And actually, I know that what other people think about that is it's their stuff showing up as well. So, and I just think, well, it's not like we're late all the time. We've never been late since we've been to that school, only twice recently. So it's
exactly.
In business as well. You know, sometimes we get embroiled in what other people might think.
Yeah.
We're anxious about things, don't we? And again, that's not being present, is it? But when you're present, like none of it matters.
And it's those labels again, isn't it? Putting labels on things, and we use it to label ourselves, or we're late, so that means. And as you said, like, it's twice.
Yeah.
That's not who you are.
My phone's going off. Oh. Yeah, twice. It's not the end of the world. But
no.
Again, you know, when you're at that end, you think that's the end of the world. You think about what other people think. When you're at this end, it's all about, you know, being in touch with that higher self, being present, because you know then none of that is real. And actually, and the other thing I do as well, if other people's stuff shows up, I did a talk a while ago. It's a networking, and after I finished my talk, it was when I first started in business, and I talked about how I'd started my business and all of that. And at the end of the talk, someone said to me, "It's okay for you. You live at home." And I said, "I don't live at home. I have 2 children. I live by myself with my 2 children." And they said, "Oh, you should make that clearer because you made it sound like you live at home." And there was a time when I would have reflected and thought, did I do something wrong, or should I have made that clearer? And actually what I did was I said to them, what is that story of it's okay for you doing for you? Because I knew it was their stuff showing up. I said, it's keeping me stuck, which was like a bit of a revelation, because I thought by getting curious and not thinking that was about me, but by knowing that was about them, getting curious about it, it's actually helped them more and served them more than had I gone, oh, maybe I should have made that clearer.
Exactly. And even if you hadn't, what does it matter?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Like, you know, someone said to me, well, it's okay for you, you haven't got children. I have children, so my time. I have no time. And
that's just their story. That's just their story.
It's silly. I'm doing a heck of a lot. What does it matter?
What is that story doing to them?
Do what you do with your time. I choose to do with my time. I have the commitments I have. You have the commitments. It doesn't. No one's got it easier. Stop.
No. There are people out there without children or with children that do it. So
exactly.
It's just
exactly.
Whole story.
That's it. As you said, and people like to be caught up in the baggage, and as you say, if you're not careful, you can get drawn into it as well. So it is about knowing.
I put an article on earlier about something about how we hold ourselves back, and it said that when we're caught up in the, you know, embroiled in all of that, we will make excuses because it makes us feel better.
Yeah,
so we'll say, you know, it's not our fault, or you know, I can't do this, because we feel bad for not doing it. So to make excuses, we make ourselves feel better.
It's not me.
That's how we instantly feel better.
We do. I don't know if you've ever watched Restaurant Takeover, ever. I love watching it. It's like the Gordon Ramsay kind of one.
Yeah. Oh, that's my phone again.
And he takes restaurants, obviously, that are failing. And one of the people, before, the first thing he said, it was, you know, it's like, I'm losing a lot of money. And he said, why is the restaurant losing money? There's no jobs, the economy, our restaurant is in a place where no one can see us, our sign isn't big enough, we've had staff off sick, I've been off sick, food costs are too high, and literally reeled off about 20 issues.
Another business owner could come in and run that restaurant and make a go of it.
Well, in 3 days, they turned that thing around. And they found out pretty much instantly the problem was him.
Yeah.
You know, he was a control freak. He was doing this wrong. He wasn't doing this right. His financial education.
Yeah.
And it was so funny. And it was so natural to him just to say, "Yep, this is all there. It's other people. Can't get stuff."
He's that end then because he's not taking responsibility for anything that he can change about it. So when you have someone who is that end at running a business or the head of a business, then there's no accountability, there's no responsibility, there's no you can't change. You think you can't change things, so you don't change anything. So you just accept your fate, really, and you think that because you think that everybody else has the power, don't you? But really, you had the power all along if you'd only been aware of the fact that you could change that thing, and if you've taken some action to change it. And even if you maybe there's some fear about getting it wrong, or fear about it not working around that as well. Fear of success is another one, isn't there? But
yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, but actually, it's being stuck in that position that makes that restaurant then go down. If he was able to move, he could have stayed there, couldn't he? And he could have done something, been a part of that change and been a part of that process and seen it with success. But to do that, really, people, all they have to do is move. They have to take a step. But some people are so far this end that they are so fixed or so afraid that they don't want to take a step.
No, they just want to stay because it's safer.
It's safe.
Trapped in
their comfort zone. In a comfort zone.
Yeah, trapped nicely. Don't have to move.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's more damaging. But yeah.
Well, that is where the kind of I want a short-term mindset, instant gratification, but I'm not prepared to do any work towards that.
Yeah. It's everyone else. Yeah.
So it's interesting. Like I find that a really useful kind of thing, that dichotomy, and that we're all along this process.
Yeah.
It's quite linear as well. So maybe maybe it's not linear.
Well,
I know that when I've written down my journey in the past, it's gone in all different directions, but stayed on a similarly straight path, but changed and stuff like that. So it's not technically linear, but
no,
I find that quite useful to kind of look at where people are and whether they're ready.
Yeah. And the more you become conscious, it starts to become less. I mean, you have movements, but it starts to become less kind of thing.
Yeah.
In the beginning, and until you reach certain points, it's very up and down. But I think sometimes we can get better in our flow as we start to recognize and have those things.
So I think in terms of our original topic, because we've covered lots of topics now, so I think in terms of our original topic, the things that we have covered are really useful for money, because we talked about being present, we talked about, we need to be taking responsibility for money as well, because quite often we don't want to talk about it, we don't have anything to do with money, because all those things. But when we take responsibility, I mean, looking at you people who are in lack, you can look at your finances and realize, I've worked with people and look at their finances and realize that they don't know what they're spending sometimes, and they have a lot more than they realize. And we're gonna have to end it soon because my dog has just started.
Yes.
But yeah, I think we've covered a lot of topics there, haven't we? That gives people an idea about how to handle money better, and to when we're from that higher place of being in that higher perspective and our higher self and present and not reacting to money. So we shouldn't be reacting to money. We should be kind of just being with money in a sense.
Exactly. I think
that's not judging it or any of that, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's not going to the other way when you're so obsessed and so absorbed in it. I think that's kind of the angles, isn't it? People are either obsessed because they want it, or so obsessed because I have it.
Yeah.
As well. So again, it's like, as you said, it's with it.
Yeah, and my dog has just decided to have a turn.
I'm telling you, I want my turn.
So should we leave it there? And it's been really, really great talking to you about all these different things, and hopefully that'll be helpful to people who watch it as well.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. And I'm sure we'll have another conversation some other time as well.
Yeah. So, bye then.
Bye, enjoy.
Okay.